I was born to rape, and I held myself back for a relatively long time. I could have behaved a lot worse than locking up my daughter. It had seemed like an innocent enough request. Could she help him hoist a door into its frame? Elizabeth Fritzl followed her father down into the bowels of a cellar that he had been building for months in the gardens beneath the family home. Never did she know this would lead to her 24 years of imprisonment and rape, all by her own father. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the Fritzl case, which came to light on 2008, where a girl was actually tortured and held captive by her own father. So this is going to be a long one, so grab your snacks, sit tight, and let's begin. Joseph Fritzl was born on the 9th of April 1935 in Austria. He married 17-year-old Rosemary at age 21 and subsequently had 3 sons and 4 daughters, one of them known as Elizabeth Fritzl, who was born on the 6th of April 1966. Elizabeth was a rather troubled kid. When she was 17, she had ran away from home and went into hiding with a friend she met from work. She was eventually found by the police within 3 weeks and was sent back home to her parents. From there, she finished her waitressing course and was offered a job at a city nearby. On the 28th of August 1984, after Elizabeth turned 18, her father, Joseph, lured her to the basement of the family home, saying that he needed help carrying a doll. After Elizabeth held the doll in place while Joseph fitted it into the frame, he held an either-soaked towel on his daughter's face until she was unconscious, and then threw her into the cellar and locked her in. After Elizabeth's disappearance, her mother, Rosemary, filed a missing persons report. Almost a month later, Joseph handed over a letter to the police. This letter was written by Elizabeth, postmarked from a small town called Braunau in Upper Austria. This letter supposedly states that Elizabeth was tired of staying with her parents and wanted to live with a friend instead. In this letter, she also warned her parents not to come looking for her, if not she will leave this country forever. Joseph also told the police that she has most likely joined a religious cult. What the police didn't know is that this letter is actually the first of the several Joseph had forced Elizabeth to write. Over the next 24 years, Joseph visited Elizabeth in the hidden cellar at least 3 times a week to bring food and supplies. He would rape her and force her to watch pornographic videos, which he made her reenact with him in front of her children in order to humiliate her. Oh my god. Raping her is one thing, but asking her to do pornographic acts in front of her own kids is another level of sick. With that, Elizabeth gave birth to 7 children during her captivity. 1 child died shortly after birth, and 3, Lisa, Monica, and Alexander, were removed from the cellar as infants to live with Joseph and his wife. Apparently, the infants were approved by the local social services authorities as their foster parents. Joseph was very convincing. He managed to convince the social services that these 3 grandkids just happened to appear on his doorsteps. The family also received regular visits from social workers who saw and heard nothing to arouse their suspicions. The other 3 kids, Kirsten, Stefan, and Felix, were left in the cellar with Elizabeth. In 1994, after Elizabeth had her 4th child, Joseph decided to enlarge the cellar where she was held and would put Elizabeth and her children to work for years, digging out soil with their bare hands. In this cellar prison, they had televisions, radio, video cassette player, a basic cooking area, and even a sleeping area with bathroom facilities. So while being held, Elizabeth would teach her kids how to read and write. If Elizabeth and the kids did not behave, Joseph would shut off their lights or refuse to deliver food for days as a punishment. Joseph told Elizabeth and the 3 children who remained that they would be gassed if they tried to escape, and that they would receive an electric shock and die if they meddled with the cellar door. Eventually, the investigators concluded that it was just an empty threat because there was no gas supply to the basement. This actually got me wondering, had nobody found that his activities were suspicious? It was literally at the basement of his own house. People would have noticed that he was constantly going down for no reason.
Over the 24 years Elizabeth was in captivity, there were over 100 tenants renting rooms in the Fritzl house, right above her prison.
Man kann jetzt im Nachhinein, glaube ich, da sie wichtig machen.
In hindsight, you can always claim that you heard something, like knocking, but that simply isn't the case. I can't recall ever hearing knocking or anything at all. And if I'd heard something, what could I have done? It could have been children playing. You don't know.
Christine, his sister-in-law, noticed that he would visit the chamber every morning at 9 a.m. When questioned, Joseph would claim that he was there to draw plans for machines which he sold to firms. Sometimes he would stay there overnight and did not even allow his wife to bring coffee for him, which is rather sus if you ask me. If I was the one who like, what the hell, I'm gonna go down there and see what's wrong. This concealed cellar was actually located behind a shelf in Joseph's basement workshop, protected by an electronic code entered using a remote control unit. In order to reach this door, 5 locking basement rooms had to be crossed. To get to the area where Elizabeth and her children were held, 8 doors in total needed to be unlocked, of which 2 doors were additionally secured by electronic locking devices. On 19th of April 2008, 24 years after Elizabeth was held captive, Kirsten, the eldest daughter, fell unconscious. Elizabeth helped to carry Kirsten out of the chamber to seek medical attention, and this was when she saw the outside world for the first time in 24 years. Joseph forced her to return to the cellar while the ambulance took Kirsten to the hospital. Kirsten was admitted in a serious condition and was diagnosed with a life-threatening kidney failure. Joseph later arrived at the hospital claiming to have found a note written by Kirsten's mother. He discussed Kirsten's condition and the note with a doctor. Medical staff actually didn't believe his story. They found it really puzzling and weird. I mean, like, come on, like, why wouldn't the mother just bring the daughter to the hospital by herself? Like, why would she go through the trouble of writing a note, bringing it to her father's house, putting the daughter at the doorsteps? It just doesn't make sense. They alerted the police on the 21st of April, who then broadcast an appeal on public media for the missing mother to come forward and provide additional information about Kirsten's medical history. This was when police reopened the case file of Elizabeth's disappearance. Joseph repeated the story about Elizabeth being in a cult and presented what he claimed was the most recent letter from her, dated January 2008, posted from the town of Kemayton. The police contacted Manfred Wolfart, a church officer and an expert on cults, who raised doubts about the existence of the group Joseph described. He noted that Elizabeth's letter seems dictated and oddly written. Elizabeth pleaded with Joseph to be taken to the hospital to see her daughter, and eventually he agreed. On the 26th of April, he released her from the cellar along with her sons, Stefan and Felix, bringing them upstairs. The doctor in charge of Kirsten actually tipped off to the police that Elizabeth was in the hospital, and that was when the police detained both Elizabeth and Joseph for further questioning. Initially, Elizabeth was tight-lipped, which I would completely understand. Like, she's literally in fear, right? Like, what if she said so much and then the police released Joseph and he might take it out on her, you know? But then the police actually promised her that she would no longer have to see her father, and that was when she told the police what had happened to her in 24 years where she was held captive. Joseph Fritzl, aged 73 at that time, was arrested on the 26th of April on the suspicions of serious crimes against family members. Apparently, this was not the first of Joseph's crimes.
On microfiche in the archives are reports from 1967 of his confession to the rape of a 24-year-old woman at knife point. He was sentenced to 18 months in prison.
His criminal record was expunged after 15 years, and as a result, more than 25 years later, when he applied to adopt and/or foster Elizabeth's children, the local social service authorities did not discover his criminal history. Joseph himself had a rather troubling childhood. His mother was known to be unpredictable and abusive. She used to beat me, hit me until I was lying in a pool of blood on the floor. It left me feeling totally humiliated and weak. My mother was a servant and she used to work hard all her life. I never had a kiss from her. I was never cuddled, although I wanted it. I wanted her to be good to me. In 1959, after Joseph had married and bought his house, his mother moved in with them. Over time, their roles actually reversed, and his mother came to fear him. Eventually, he also admitted that he had later locked his mother in an attic and bricked up her window after telling neighbors that she had died, and kept her locked up until her death in 1980. It's actually unknown how long Joseph has kept his mother up in the attic, but people speculate that it might be up to 20 years. Joseph Fritzl was sentenced to life imprisonment. So how is Elizabeth and her kids holding up now? It was revealed that Elizabeth and her children were more traumatized than previously thought. When being held captive, Kirsten actually tore out her hair in clumps and was reported to have shredded her dresses before stuffing them up in the toilet. It has also been revealed that normal everyday occurrences such as dimming of the lights or closing of the doors plunged Kirsten and Stefan into anxiety and panic attacks. The other 3 of Elizabeth's children, who were raised by their father, are being treated for anger and resentment. So this is the end of the Fritzl case. What do you guys think? It's really tragic, like, you know, it's your own father, someone you're supposed to like believe and trust and look up to, and he betrayed his daughter's trust. Thank you for watching my video and see you in the next one. Bye! Another level of sick. What the